Welcome back. Is that the Mace version? Is that the Mace version or what version?
It's the Mace version tonight.
It's the Mace version tonight?
Yes.
Good. I'm glad it's the Mace version tonight.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Good evening, and welcome to Meet Us in the Trenches. I am your co-host, Tan.
And I'm your host, Coach Said. Lucky you ain't say co-coach.
I kept saying that. I'm like, I'm your co-coach.
Yeah, you was
I'm like,
almost...
okay, I'm not really a coach, but hey.
Yeah.
We are here at Moe's Seafood on Pulaski Highway. Come out here if you haven't been here before. It is a treat, okay? We're brought to you by Union Media Group, Tone Drone TV, Brainstream Media, Play It Again Sports.
Timonium.
Thanks for joining us tonight, and we have a great show for you, okay? We have Morgan State Athletic Director DENA Freeman-Patton coming on tonight. We have Dunbar Poets High School new head coach, Courtney Bridget. Coach Garry. I say Garry because I'm from New York, but he says
Garry.
Coach Garry Smith.
Baltimore, we say Garry. You know
Garry. I'm gonna be from Baltimore tonight for sure.
Okay.
Coach Garry.
Yeah.
From Joppatowne High School. So please invite your friends, if you have not already, to join us at Meet Us in the Trenches. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We got a TikTok. Follow us there too. Have a watch party with your friends. Subscribe to our channel. Hit that comment. Hit that bell. Comment, subscribe. Give us a call. Our number is 410-929-6835.
Yep.
And if you're watching after the live stream, that is okay. Put a hashtag replay in the comments and let us know that you were here watching us.
So tonight, it's kind of poignant because, we always talking ball. And today I came in and one of my ex-players, Gilbert Bates, a.k.a. Oodles, mother, Miss Iris, was here today. And kind of got a little emotional. But she said today was like his birthday, and in 7 years he's been gone. So, shout out to Miss Iris and family. Kind of grew up with her. She was my first crush, but she wouldn't give me time of day back then. So, but it's all right. It's all right. We much better today, Thank you anyway, Miss Iris. So, our black fact for the day. Is an overview of Kenny Stanley Washington. Was an American professional football player who was the first African-American to sign a contract with the National Football League team in the modern era. He played college football for the UCLA Bruins. So Kenneth Stanley Washington, born August 31st, 1918, and he passed June 24th, 1971. People think it was Fritz Pollard, but Mr. Washington, Stanley Washington, he signed the first contract, so he was technically the first person who played in the National Football League.
It's pretty cool to know.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Right.
Can you tell me, what is this Shedeur Sanders thing going on? What's going on with that? I'm not too familiar with it. Can you let me know?
Well, he didn't go until I think the fourth round. Came in, and one of my ex-players, Gilbert Bates, a.k.a. Oodles, mother, Miss Iris, was here today. And kind of got a little emotional. But she said today was like his birthday. Yes. Technical difficulty, but we back. So
Explain that again.
He didn't go in the fourth round. I mean, he went in the fourth round. People thought he was supposed to go in the first round. Some people said it was kind of jealousy of, his father and, his father being so brash that it was like, one of them times where, we clip your wings and make you, understand that you still a Negro in this day and age. So it's one of those things, but we're going to talk about that actually when we get Miss DENA on and we get the coaches on. We're going to elaborate a little bit more on the Shedeur Sanders fiasco and some of the NIL stuff. And yeah, so we're going to kind of hold back on that, and we're going to talk about it when we get the guest on.
So how was your week? How was your weekend?
It was great. It was great. It was great. I got to relax a little bit on Saturday. Sunday, my son was in the NCES combine camp thingy, and he wound up winning the MVP, offensive line MVP, and then he won the overall MVP. It was like 250 kids out there. So I was so proud of him. He did his thing out there. Yeah, congratulations. Shout out to Grunt. Good job, son.
Shout out to Grump. We gotta get him on the show. Can we get him on the show?
We working on it.
We gotta have him on the show.
Yeah, we working on it.
What did I do this weekend? I had a lot of fun. I went back home to New York. I went to a really cool event called Girls Love Karaoke. It is one of the biggest events that's going on right now. Shout outs to the hosts AG and Maddie Morbucks and DJ First Choice. And if I'm missing anybody, shout outs to them too. It's one of the most popular events right now.
Is that on Coney Island?
It's in the city, and it was actually a public event going on. It was on 48th Street, where Stage 48 used to be actually in the city. So that was a lot of fun. I also read that Baltimore has, the crime rate went down. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, what they say, yes. Statistically.
I think that's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
So I think that it's really important to keep that down. I think that we should really have some types of activities going on.
First, shout out to Coach Scott. I mean, he was formerly a guest on it. We had Mayor Scott on here maybe 3 times under the last regime, and shout out to him. But I mean, I think he's doing a pretty good job. I mean, granted where we were.
Yep.
And so statistically, I mean, that's a great stat. And just hopefully it stays that way or even get better. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so shout out to Mayor Scott.
Yeah. I was just thinking activities would be cool, for teenagers and stuff to keep them out of trouble.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do. I used to go to modeling, if we have photography classes or music classes. That's what a lot of people like to do nowadays. So why not create those things out there and just keep them out of trouble, keep them off the streets, keep them busy.
They say, they're in the process of building more recreational centers. And so, again, just get the kids something to do. It says 3 or 4 more recs being renovated. And, so I hope they bring back that old way of recreational centers in the hood and bring the kids out, give them something to do, as you said.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I told you or if I was telling our lovely Denise, but I want to start a double dutch team here in Baltimore, but I need to meet more girls who love to jump double dutch. And at the event on Friday, they actually had a double dutch team there. Shout outs to them. That was amazing. I jumped double dutch on the stage. It was really fun. I haven't done it in a long time. I would love to keep doing that. It was really fun.
What you mean? Say less. Let's do it.
You gonna turn the rope for me?
Let's promote it. Let's promote it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I think we should.
Yeah.
But
what else is popping?
Shout out to our sponsors.
Tone Drone Production.
Brainstream Media.
Moe's Seafood.
And Play It Again Sports Timonium. And we will be back with our first guest.
Our mission focuses on showcasing local and global talent of all ages on and off the field. We will strive to inspire, educate, and bridge the divides through our media collaboration. Our goal is to give student athletes and coaches the platform to let their talents be seen and a platform for the community to let their voices be heard. This is the Union Media Group.
Welcome back. Is that the Mace version or the...
Welcome back. Carter version.
That's right. I'm glad you with it.
I'm with it.
That Mace version is trash.
I told you I was jamming to it in the car on
That's
my
right.
way here.
That's right. So who we got today? What?
I am here next to this lovely, lovely woman, DENA Freeman, Director of Athletics at Morgan State. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
My first question is, what inspired you to become an athletic director?
I wanted to be the one to make the decisions. I mean, really, that was the reason. I got into this field working with student athletes, mostly the ones that look like me, and I saw other people making the decisions on what happens with those student athletes, and I wanted to be the one to make those decisions. And in order to do that, you got to be in the seat.
So, were you born and raised in Baltimore? And what's the best things you think about this town, being born and raised here, if you were?
Family. Like
Okay.
immediately when I came back home, and I'll first start about that I was all over the country for my career, but I always felt the love for my city. And then to come back home, it was just amplified. You know, there was always that I'm still their daughter. I'm still a daughter of Baltimore. And so when I came back home, it was nothing but love.
Yeah. Well, I used to look at, when I coached at Poly, and Miss Tiffany Bird was my AD at Poly, right? And I shout out to Tiff, I love her to death. And I used to see like all the sports that she had to be involved with and take care of. Tell me about that. Like, I know you like triple high school. So what is that day like? Like during, let's say during the fall season, this football season. So what is that day like?
So, yeah, it's about 400 student athletes that are in my charge and about 60 staff, like coaches and staff. And so, you know, I do have help. One of gentlemen that's here with me today, Melvin Hines, is my number two, my chief operating officer. I need those people to help with that, right? You got to have a team because it's a lot. It's like running a business. You know, you got all the areas. You got the health and wellness area. You got academics. You got PR and communications. You have the budget. You have travel. You have everything that has to do with events and things like that. So it's a lot to manage, but that's what it is. And so most of my day is meetings, events, planning, and things like that. Football in the fall, it's mostly football and volleyball. And, you know, I think that brings the most people together.
Who?
You know, basketball season does as well. You know, we bring a lot of the students into the arena and in the community for basketball. But football, I think, especially being an outdoor sport, it brings a lot of the community and a lot of people together.
So football is the most demanding?
Is it the most, probably the most demanding, because you need more. It's about a third of our student athletes won, right? And then you're talking about everything that goes along with that. Mm-hmm. There's more coaches, there's more people involved. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I guess to that standpoint, it's most demanding.
Okay.
Yep, ma'am.
I'm interested in knowing about your journey. You said you've been all over. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and where you've been and how you've got here?
So I'll start with Lake Clifton. My high school, where I was a three-sport athlete, basketball, volleyball, and softball, and class president. And so I knew what it looked like to be a student athlete. And from that point on, I went to Georgia State to get my master's in Atlanta, got hired full-time. I skipped Liberty. Liberty University was where I got a Division I scholarship to play basketball. I decided to change my major from finance to sport management. And from that point on, it was my goal to manage. My coach wanted me to be a coach, but that wasn't my calling. But I consider myself a coach's administrator. I went from Georgia State to NC State in Raleigh. I worked with mainly the football team, and then the basketball team worked with some great coaches, Coach Chuck Amato, Coach K. Yao. Went from there to College Park for a few years. I worked in the academic and career services space for student athletes specifically. Went back to Georgia State from College Park to oversee and run the area, so oversee the academic support. Left Georgia State to go to the West Coast. So I went to the West Coast to be Associate Athletics Director at Cal State Bakersfield. Was there for 6 years, became that Deputy Athletics Director there. Left there, went to New Orleans to work at UNO. Left New Orleans to get my first AD job was at Cal State Dominguez. It's a Division II school, and that was my first time working at Division II. Was only there for about a year, and then I got recruited to back home to Morgan. So I kind of went across from, I stayed in warm states until I came back home. So, but I did have a great opportunity across the country.
So when you say recruited, what did you mean? Like, when you say recruited, they reached out to you?
Yes.
Really?
They reached out to me. So typically in these jobs, there's a search firm that handles the search, and so they recruit. They go out. I had no intentions of leaving after 1 year in my first AD position. And I was living in Long Beach. And so with the sunshine and, I was enjoying the job. And I got recruited. So I really had to think about it, pray about it. It worked out for me. Ironically, the day I got the offer was on the anniversary of my dad's passing, who lived here. He is originally from North Carolina, but once he married my mom, who's Baltimore born and raised, he had to move here and lived here ever since. And they were married for 50 years. And so to me, that was like a sign, you need to go home. And so that's what got me back here. Obviously, everything else had to work out. It had to be the right leadership at Morgan and things like that, the job itself. And so I'm glad to be back, 3 years in now.
That's a beautiful journey, and then to hear about your dad and everything came full circle for you, it seems. I'm interested in knowing what's the most rewarding part of your job to you?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think seeing the students and the student athletes later in life, once, because I have a lot of my former student athletes are working in this industry now. And when I see them at conventions and I see them other places and doing their thing and they have families and they're successful, to me, that's the most rewarding. But being back here, there's some experiences I've been able to have that kind of bring me full circle. Throwing the first pitch at an Orioles game. I used to sit up in the rafters at Memorial Stadium and watch the Orioles, and to be able to be that person during the first pitch is just amazing.
So what challenges have you faced as an athletic director, and how did you overcome them?
Well, it's, I think part of it is, you always got to worry about money, budget, money, but also not just living in the present and trying to do what's right in the present. Things change so quickly. As you know, with this college landscape, this new landscape, things change quickly. So it's thinking ahead and thinking in the future and not just preparing for now, but preparing for what things may look like in the future. And so that's been a challenge with how things change from year to year to year to year, and figuring out what's best.
So if it was a kid that wanted to come to Morgan and participate in any sport, whatever sport it may be, what would you say to that kid coming in?
I would say that Morgan is one of the best universities in the country, academically, and that athletically, we're going to put you on a national stage. And then we're going to treat you like family. And so for me, those things are important. With all that's going on, essentially a kid they want to play and they want to get what's theirs, right? They want to be able to do what's best for them and then prepare them for those next steps.
Yes.
You know, it's not just what you're getting now. It's not just the NIL money that you're getting now, but how are you then going to translate that into the future? Are you going to, how are you going to own your own business? How are you going to do that? We got some things on the horizon that are going to help our student athletes in those spaces as well.
Okay, so NIL was my next segue.
Gotcha.
Right?
Fun stuff.
So I'm clueless. I'm like clueless to NIL. So, you know, they got the book to say Dummies, Football for Dummies 101. Explain to me NIL for dummies. Like,
so NIL means name, image, and likeness.
Right. Okay.
So before, when I was a student athlete in the NCAA, you couldn't work, you could make money off of your own name, image, and likeness. So if somebody sold a jersey with my name on it, I didn't get a piece of that. And so there were some lawsuits against the NCAA for some of those rules, limiting access for student athletes to make money off of their name, image, and likeness. And now they have that opportunity to do so. Now there's a lot of other stuff around that, but that's the pure definition of name, image, and likeness. There's some other things with collectives and revenue sharing and other things that are going on, and we're going to take advantage of those as well. And so don't get me wrong, Morgan has opted in to the settlement, and we will make some of those opportunities available to our student athletes.
So how do you stay informed about changes in regulations, policies, and practices in athletics administration?
So I continue to educate myself, but I also serve on several committees nationally. I serve on the football oversight committee with the NCAA. Also, I'm on the men's basketball NIT committee. I'm on the Women's Sports Foundation College. I'm a co-chair of that committee that was founded by Billie Jean King. And you have to be at those tables, right? You have to have a seat at the table to get the information, know what's going on, to make the best decisions for your university.
So that's a tough job. I mean, kudos to you, Mr. Kudos. But how do you balance family and work? Like, how do you do that?
So next week I'm headed to Cali to see my son graduate college.
Okay.
And we have a softball tournament at the MUITT, but guess where I'm going? I'm going to see my son graduate college,
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
My mom is here, my brother, my nieces are here, and we have this thing I've dubbed it family night. And so my staff, my coaches team, they all know that Tuesday, Dena's going to mama's house. Right, because it was always already a time when my brother would go over there, check on my mom. So I knew I could get both of them at the same time. So I just said, I'm going to go over there every Tuesday, and I'm going to spend time with family. And I take some vacations, and enjoy myself, too.
Okay,
nice. What programs or initiatives have you started as an athletic director?
Well, first, we started 2 new sports since I've been here. 2 whole new teams. That's wrestling. We brought wrestling back after 25 years of being away. We just finished our 2nd season. And we also are the first HBCU to start acrobatics and tumbling.
big. That's big. That's big.
So, I mean, we did some other things too, but that was a lot.
But I was oblivious to wrestling not really being there. So what is that like to get wrestling back? Like, so the recruiting for that and the coaching, like explain that a little bit.
So we decided before I got to Morgan that those two sports would be added. We got a huge donation for wrestling and a lot of community support. And so, but the implementation is the harder part, right? So we had to hire a coach first. They have to hire a staff. Then we've got to figure out the facility situation, or where they're going to practice, where they're going to compete. You got to get all the equipment, uniforms, get a schedule, recruit kids, start from scratch. Like, you're really just starting from scratch. And most of our wrestling team were freshmen last year. And so you really have to, our operations staff had to learn how to, okay, what are the nuances? What do we need? What are the stuff we need to operate to run a wrestling match, you know? And then the following year, we pushed to get into a conference because the MEAC doesn't currently sponsor wrestling. So we worked to get in a conference. This year was our first year competing in a conference, and we had our first kid to have an appearance at the NCAA tournament for wrestling.
So you just hired a new women's basketball coach.
I did.
Okay, so so tell us about that.
That was an interesting experience, a fun experience. We had all types of interest in the position. It was really highly sought after. We had high major assistants. We had professional players. We had a lot Division II coaches. Everything you can think of interested in his job. I have an affinity for champions, to be honest. So for me, it's whatever level it is, you have to have that in your repertoire. You have to have been a champion. You have to have been as successful in the sport, first and foremost. And then, okay, how do you treat your student athletes? What's important to you? How are you going to fit in with Morgan? Is HBCU dynamics, all of that. And so we were all in agreement. We had a committee, we had everybody else, we were all in agreement. This is the person for us. And we were happy to hire Coach Nadine Dumont from Virginia State, who was just recently Coach of the Year, made an NCAA tournament appearance at Division II, and she's hit the ground running.
You are very inspiring. I just think you're amazing. Thank you so much for coming to our show and shedding a light on everything that you do. And wow. Can you tell everybody who's watching where to follow you?
Be More DFP is my handle for Instagram. I'm on Facebook as well, DENA FREEMAN-PATTON. And you just go to Go Bears, the Morgan website. You'll find all of our information. We just finished a All Paws In fundraising campaign. The links, I believe, are still active, so if you want to go check it out and donate some money to our athletics programs, and we look forward to seeing you these upcoming seasons.
Make sure you guys follow, donate if you can. That is amazing. We have 2 more guests coming up, and we will be back shortly. Shout out to our sponsors. We're here at Moe's Seafood, Pulaski Highway, Brainstream Media, Tone Drone TV,
and
Play It Again Sports, Timonium. And we will be right back with our next guest. Thank you again.
Our mission focuses on showcasing local and global talent of all ages on and off the field. We will strive to inspire, educate, and bridge the divides through our media collaboration. Our goal is to give student athletes and coaches the platform to let their talents be seen and a platform for the community to let their voices be heard. This is the Union Media Group. Our mission focuses on showcasing local and global talent of all ages on and off the field. We will strive to inspire, educate, and bridge the divides through our media collaboration. Our goal is to give student athletes and coaches the platform to let their talents be seen and a platform for the community to let their voices be heard. This is the Union Media Group.
Welcome back.
We're back.
Hold up.
We're
I'm a dog. I'm a mutt. So I'm like, where these lyrics come from, right? Can we do better than that, right? Do we like, I'm a dog. I'm a mutt.
That's the song you want to sing? Okay.
Negative.
Nah, sing it again.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
We are here with Coach CB and Coach G. What's up, y'all? How y'all feeling today? What's going on?
Good, good. Everything is good. Thanks for having us.
And that's Garry, not Gary, all right? We're not in New York. You know what I mean? We're not in New York. I mean, it's Garry.
All right. Okay. All right, I'll start with you, Coach Garry, Coach G. I'm going to call you Coach G. How would you describe yourself and your upbringing, and what inspired you to become a coach?
Oh, man. So, describe myself as humble, open-hearted, and giving. And my upbringing was the same way. My mother and father, the same way. And I never met nobody like my mother in the world. You know, but my upbringing was really humble. We lived in a middle-class neighborhood. You know, came from East Baltimore. My dad bought a house in Northeast Baltimore. And I grew up playing at Northwood, Dunbar, and just had fun my whole life and had a lot of great mentors in my life. So, you know, for me, I try to mimic that, you know, so my whole life is about giving back and helping the next man up.
Yeah, so what was your question? What was your question?
Same question for Coach CB. My question was, how would you describe yourself and your upbringing, and what inspired you to become a coach?
First off, I appreciate y'all having us on the show. Thank you so much. But I would say I'm a young guy with an old soul, kind of an old school throwback mentality. I just grew up around, obviously my mom and my dad, but you know, the thing I say is I grew up around men, you know, who held me accountable, who taught me right from wrong and kind of kept us in our place. Humble guy, like Coach G said, very detail oriented, and a guy who just is very competitive. I want to win in everything that I do. So, you know, I'm a guy who's young, but I'm blessed. I'm happy, and you know, I just look forward to what's next.
So, when the last school you was at, one of your coaches, I think his name's Coach Free, I think. Yeah. So when he was telling me, like, you know, your practice regimen, it kind of reminded me. So when you said old school, when he was talking to me, it kind of reminded me of, like, my mentor, Coach Roger Wren, and how we used to see each other every day. And we met on Sunday mornings at 7:30. So he said that the meeting was 2 hours long, so 7:30 to 9:30. So he wanted exactly 120 minutes, right? So if you came in at 7:45, it wasn't gonna be over till 9:45. Right. So it's kind of lead me into like the tyrant mode, like you got to kind of push that. Explain to me your coaching style. Is it like that? Is it borderline tyrant?
No, it's not. It's not tyrant at all. It's just, the thing that I kind of want to get across with my coaching style is I'm firm but I'm fair. You know what I'm saying? There's expectations that come with this, right? And so the thing that I kind of pride myself on is the places I've been and the things that I've done. A lot of these kids want to do as well, right? And so in order to reach those goals and obtain those dreams, you got to just move a certain way, right? And so, everyone want to play D1 football. Everybody want to play in the league. Everybody want to go on and do these great things. But, at the end of the day, to reach those goals, you got to work, right? And so, it would be behoove me to not reach those places and to see how things is supposed to be ran and how they're supposed to operate at that level and not provide that and give back. So the thing that I kind of get across to my families and my kids is when we send your kid off to college, they're going to be prepared 100%, right? Emotionally, socially, athletically, academically. When they step foot on the campus, no matter where it's at, they're going to be ready to go, right? And so at the end of the day, it's just about holding these kids accountable. More importantly, it's about holding myself accountable because I can't hold them accountable if I'm not willing to, be the head of the snake or the top of the pyramid. So it's not tyrant at all. It's just, I know what we are capable of. I know what I'm capable of. And in order to reach the heights that a lot of these families and kids want to reach, you just gotta move a certain way. You just gotta be in a different mindset. You gotta be different. It's what the kids say today. You just gotta be different. So not tyrant at all. It's just, successful people just move in a way that successful people move, and unsuccessful people move in a way that unsuccessful people don't move. I'm a successful person, so.
So my question is also for you. Speaking of reaching places, I've heard you made it to the NFL. Can you elaborate a little bit about that and how that experience was?
Yeah, so I came from Dunbar, so I'm an alum of where I'm coaching at now. So just coming from a place that has high expectations and sets us up for success. I was blessed to go and play at Hampton University. And then obviously from there, like you just said, I was given the opportunity to play professionally. Played with the Redskins at the time, but obviously now they call themselves the Commanders. Spent some time in Oakland, but now they're in Vegas. And then spent some time in Atlanta. And then traveled in Canada for a little bit and played over there. But it was an amazing experience. God just gave me the God-given talent and abilities to play, and I think that's me. You know what I mean? I don't want to be treated any differently. I'm just a regular human being who God blessed to be able to play football really well. So I was able to reach those goals, which I know a lot of other kids want to as well.
Wow, that's a blessing.
So my guy, Coach G. So let me just break Coach G down. He's a football guy. So Coach G will call my phone at 5 o'clock in the morning. He won't say good morning, right? He'll get right into the conversation. Coach G be like, "Say, boom," and hit me with the question. And I'll be like, "Gee, it's like 5:30, bro." All right, so G, tell us about, the process in which you got hired at Joppatowne and what you think is next for that program, because I know you're gonna really put them guys on the map.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about that and what you're trying to do with that program.
So it's a total rebuild, total gut out, right? The way I got the job was somebody saw something in me. I was an assistant, and I was kind of like burned out by like the third game because I didn't have any input into the gameplay or the scheme or the game plan, and I just, stayed the course as a professional, and the head coach ended up stepping down. And the person who saw something in me was a former employee at the school. And he said, you need to be in charge of the whole thing. That's what he said, and I applied and I got it. Being humble, staying down, being a professional, not talking any negative stuff about anybody or being negative in my position is what got me there. And I know a lot of people think that when I coached there, like I was out to steal something, just being from Baltimore and Harford County. But it kind of fell in my lap that way. The coach stepped down, and I applied, and a little bit of favor, and just being a professional got me in a position.
So is this your first experience being a head coach on the varsity level?
No, let me answer that. So
Let him answer that.
he coached at, it's a true story, he coached at Maritime, and myself and Coach Wren went to go scout him one time.
Oh, man.
And Coach Wren liked to scout from the field view, so he came down, we stand on film. So he was running like this I formation, so we didn't get no film on him. So he was running like basic, 22 personnel, but he knew he could beat the team, right? So he kept it 22 personnel the whole game. So the following week, when we went to go play them, he changed the whole game plan.
This is a funny story.
So we dealt, like they gave us a little run first quarter, but after that it was whitewash.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
tell
no.
so tell them a little bit about that though. When you first started though, man, and at Maritime, and a lot of people don't know your history, man. You go way back,
Right.
And I'm getting goosebumps now because that burgundy and gold. I'm up the street. I'm like that royal blue and red. I'm a Patty guy, so we don't really bang with you guys. But go ahead and tell us a little bit about.
I mean, it's East Baltimore's rooted. All the rivalries and the camaraderie that goes along with it. I was trying to beat Roger Wren. And I said, I played Southwestern the week before, and I knew they ain't had nothing, so I could beat them with 2 plays. And we ran 2 plays the whole game. But when we played Roger Wren, I opened up the whole offense. And we had them. Mind you, we had them. I had a fumble, an interception, my quarterback got hurt. If that didn't happen, we probably go into halftime up 3 scores or 2 scores. And, like I said, they kind of rolled on us the second half because we ain't had the depth. But Roger Wren is a great coach. Rest in peace, Roger Wren. His disciples, his litter, so to speak, is a bunch of great coaches. I got a lot of respect for that Roger Wren cloth and the guys who came from it. Our Dunbar family is a different breed. We a bunch of winners, and we exude excellence. And it's the Dunbar way. That's just what we were raised on. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Go ahead. So tell us this question. I'm gonna pose it to both you guys. Tell me a little about that history and plan for Coach Wade, who's a legend. And shout out to Daryl Wade. But tell us a little bit about playing for Coach Wade.
So I didn't play for Coach Wade.
Oh, you didn't?
I played for Pete Pompey.
So tell me a little bit about Coach Pomp.
That's another legend.
You played for Coach Pomp too, right?
I played for Coach Lawrence.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about Coach Lawrence then. I want to know about the guys that,
So, go ahead. I'll let Courtney go first.
Like Coach G just said, man, when you step foot in that building, really when you step foot in that gym and you see all those banners around, you know where you at, right? And so it's like it's a standard, it's an expectation that when you put them colors on, you got to uphold not only the team that you on now, but you also got to uphold the fellas and the great men that came before you. But you also got a duty and an obligation to uphold for the young men that come after you, right? And so at the end of the day, it's pressure when you at Dunbar. You know what I mean? Like it's pressure, but how I feel about pressure is privilege. Because if people don't put pressure on you, then you don't have expectations. You don't have expectations in what you're in it for, right? And so at the end of the day, you know, it was a blessing to be around so many great athletes. You know what I mean? Myself, I transferred into Dunbar because I wanted to be amongst, at that time, who I thought was the best players in the state. You know what I mean? You know, I could name off names: Tavon Austin, Horace Miller, John Perry, Tevin Brown, Sean Farr. The list goes on, right? Including myself. But you know, they say iron sharpens iron, and I wanted to see if my tool blade was sharp enough. So when I transferred in, you know, it was a blessing because at the end. From Calvert Hall. So I transferred in from Calvert Hall. So I had an opportunity to go there out of youth league, was recruited there. But like I said, man, I wanted to see if I could belong. And like my dad, you know, my dad always said, in order to be the best, you gotta beat the best, right? And so, you know, I'm competitive. And he was, you know, if this is what you want to do at the next level, then you gotta go play and rub elbows with those guys who want to go play at the next level as well. Because if you can't cut it here, then how can you cut it in college? So that was really, you know, my inspiration on transferring in and wanting to be a part of the great lineage. And I come from a family of poets, mother, grandmother, a host of uncles, aunts, cousins. So it was destined for me to be in those colors at some point in time. And like I said, man, like Coach G said, when you put those colors on and you put that Dunbar across your chest, you know what you got to do. You know, you got to deliver. So I'll let him touch on his experience.
Can you hear me? All right, so the history of Dunbar with Pete Pompey. Pete Pompey, a lot of people don't know he played with the New York Jets. And he's a football guy. He coached basketball. But also Bob Wade, his influence was on the program. So we had Bob Wade, Pete Pompey, and then Stan Mitchell. And all of them men were men of high integrity, high character, and they just like instilled in us integrity and high character. So the way we move is diplomatic because of where we come from. Coach Pompey always used to say, dress for the job you want. So, you know, he would have the polos on and the slacks and, you know, his tie, his collar up. And, you know, we mimicked that in high school. In school, we wore our collars up because Pete Pompey was wearing his collar up. And Coach Stan was a real clean, just a professional guy. So when he would come to the school, he would always have on a suit. And you know, when he was in high school, they called him Wall Street Shorty. But that's how he was. He you know, he had us dressing for success, wearing a shirt and tie on game days and stuff like that. And that kind of, it goes a long way. Like you see Dante doing it over at Carver, the guys with the ties and the discipline and the stuff that he pours into them is stuff that was poured into him.
Coach
Oh yeah, shout out to my oldest boy, Dante Jones. Yes, yeah, that's my oldest son. Yep. But yeah, the history is, you know, it goes deep with Dunbar.
So we got about 10 minutes left, and I really want to touch on the Shedeur Sanders.
Yes, sir.
And I want your honest opinion on what you think about that. And do you know, was it a travesty? What do you think about?
Can I go first
move?
on that one?
You want to go first?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, really, in a nutshell, I feel like Deion tampered with the process. He wanted to have the draft at Colorado for 2 top 5 picks. He didn't want them to work out. He wanted everything to come through him. That's hubris disease. And his own hubris is what got his son kind of tied up into this mess. And I think, you know, if he could do it different, maybe he would. You know, maybe he would. But I think Shedeur is going to be okay. He's going to make people pay.
No, I think Shedeur is going to do great things in the league. I think kind of just to piggyback off of what G said, I think it was more of a shot at Deion in terms of how he was moving. And at the end of the day, the NFL is a brand, it's a logo, it's $1 billion business. So, you know, the NFL is going to be long-standing prior to Shedeur getting there and then long after he's gone, right? And so at the end of the day, you know, I think it was an opportunity for Deion to do things the right way. I just don't think he did it the right way. Now, in saying that, I don't think they should have penalized Shador, because Shador is his own man. But you know, at the same time, you got to realize, like, Shador grew up in an environment where, you know, he didn't come from the struggle. You know what I mean? Like, I think, you know, what we see is what we get with him. Like, that's truly that young man. So his father's one of the greatest of all time. Like, his father was ultra confident and ultra arrogant and cocky, but the play backed it up. I don't know if the NFL wanted to put up with that when it came to Shador. So, you know, at the end of the day, man, I wish him well. I want to see him obviously prosper, but I think Deion should have maybe had a little bit hands off more on it. At the end of the day, you got to realize, like, he coached him from youth league all the way to college. So Shador don't have any other, never had another opportunity to be coached by somebody else. So how does that translate when you get to the highest level, right? So, you know, I see both sides, right? You could sit here and you could say it, you know, it was race related, and you could say it was, you know, it was Deion related. You know, at the end of the day, Shador is his own man, so he got to go and step in them locker rooms and be Shador. Don't be Deion, because when you get in them locker rooms, you're in there with grown men, right? And so they able to see right through that. So, like, I mean, I think he'll do well, and I wish him well.
Thank you both for touching on that, because I was just telling him earlier I didn't know anything about it, so thank you for informing me. As a coach, I want to know, how do you create a positive environment for players to learn and grow?
Creating a positive environment is having a positive attitude. Always be a teacher, always be willing to help, and always encourage opportunity to grow.
Creating a positive environment, I think, starts with you know, that individual. So energy, like, I'm big on energy, right? And so, like, you'll hear me telling my coaches a lot, we got to set the energy in the room. We got to set the temperature in the room, right? And so we can't ask anything of these kids that we're not willing to ask of ourselves, right? I'm not asking anything of my coaches that I can't ask of myself and deliver. So it starts with being yourself. It starts with trust. It starts with communication. And I think that's how you create buy-in. It's getting kids to understand that at the end of the day, I have your best interests at heart, but not only explaining and showing them that and telling them that, but going out and actually physically letting them see you do that, right? And so just doing the best that you can and being there for the kids, I think, is how you get them, you know, understanding.
I do have another question. What are your expectations for player behavior on and off the field?
Great question.
Player expectations for behavior on and off the field. So one of my quotes is, how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? And so, you know, I'm a big believer in what you do off the field has a direct correlation to what you do on the field. So, you know, we're going to be great young men off the field. We're going to be students first, athletes second. We're going to handle our business in the classrooms and in the community. And then football takes care of itself. But I think you have to be, you have to hold them accountable, and you got to be consistent, right? It can't be no leeway. You know what I mean? Not with this generation, because they see right through it. And if they'll see the chink in the armor if you let one kid slide, one day go by, right? So you just got to be consistent in what your message is. At the end of the day, your program is your program. And your morals, principles, and values, you got to stand behind that, right? And so at the end of the day, you know, football is one key component of my program. I want to create good husbands, leaders, and providers in their household. And so it's bigger than football. Again, that starts with me and how I lead and how I conduct myself.
Yeah, I second that. I always say that the game is bigger than football. And my kids are expected to let nothing get in the way between them playing the game that we all love and positive energy. So, case in point, when I played, if somebody was to spit in my face, I'm not reacting in a crazy way, because I'm on the field. And I'm not getting taken off the field because of anybody but me. So I wouldn't allow nothing to take me off of the field, nothing. And I promise you that. So I expect the same thing from my players, and I'm going to teach that through practice situations and just conversation. Kids are quick to react and not think. So the brain is the most powerful tool we got. So if you can use your brain to solve conflict and just get through a tough situation, you can do it on the field, and you can do it in the classroom, you can do it at home, you can do it in the street. And that's what I want to teach to my kids: conflict resolution, in every sense of the word.
In a brief synopsis, explain to me what you think your season will be like next year, right? In your brand new programs and in your inaugural season, and in the same instance, just let us know what how you be reached. What's your handle, social media handles?
Well, I can be reached at G_Smith_410, and yeah, I'll get to everybody from there. But my team this year, well, next year, if everybody is eligible and is putting in the work, the sky's the limit. Don't be surprised. The sky's the limit. You know, we get to that 1A playoffs and run right through it. Just don't be surprised. It's not going to be a fluke. And I'm not the greatest coach in the world because we did it. But I feel like when you got the Jimmies and the Joes and you got good coaching and good schematics and film study and preparation, anything can happen. And that's our mantra too. You know, PACT, P-A-C-T, is preparation, academics, community, and teamwork. That's our mantra. You're gonna see that, you know, hashtag and on our shirts. That's what we standing by this year.
Can you repeat the question for me?
Expectations on next year and your social media handle.
So you can reach me at CoachCB_FB, pretty much on all platforms. And expectations is simple. You know, at Dunbar, we expect to hang banners, right? So it's state championship or bust for me. But I mean, that is a Dunbar answer. I can't say, I'll be crucified if I say anything else, right? So I understand what the expectations are. Like I said, as a player, I understood it. Now as a coach, there's pressure with that. But I invite that pressure. I wanted to be on this stage. I wanted this opportunity to showcase what I'm capable of, and I'm going to do that 100%. You know, I surround myself with good men, good teachers. I don't even like using the word coach because I feel like football, you got to be able to teach the game. So good teachers, and our kids is hard at work. You know, we work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 hours, and we putting them through the ringers. You know, they know I'm trying to weed the ones out who don't belong, like who don't carry on that Dunbar tradition and who don't, you know, represent what PPO3 truly means. And for those who wore those colors, know exactly what I'm talking about. So, you know, our expectations is to win every year, and so we're gonna continue to do that. But you know, we're not gonna tell you about it. We'll show you on Friday nights.
Hey, it's also a chance that we might meet in the state semifinals or the finals.
Yeah, that's true.
Joppatowne, Dunbar.
That's true. That's 1A, right?
Yep.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
But look,
that'd
man,
be awesome.
shout out to you guys, man. You know, I'm proud of you guys, man, and you know, I think you guys will do well, man. You know, and you know, much respect and kudos to you, and good luck and congrats.
Hey, Sed, what about them big uglies?
Yes. The Big Uglies, the 5-on-5 O-line camping competition. I got teams 12 and 13, 14. We're going to combine. So I got about 6 to 8 12U teams, and I got about 6 13, 14s that's going to battle together. But it'll be June the 7th, 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Cunyon Field, Edgewood, Maryland. It's free of charge. Yeah, so don't come individuals. I'm not taking no individuals. So if you don't come as a team, I'm gonna send your ass home. If we're not taking no ballerinas, so we don't want no quarterbacks, we don't want no running backs, receivers, we don't want none of that. So if you're not a part of a team and you're not a big ugly, then we don't want you there. So we'll be live streaming that from the best director and producer in the business. The union media will be there, so we're going to do it big. We're going to do it real big. So if you're looking to do that, then let us know and hit me up on this platform.
Huge shout out to Miss DENA Freeman-Patton, Coach CB, and Coach G. Thank you all for coming to meet us in the trenches.
Coach
I
G is
appreciate
really
having
eating
y'all
on
here.
the joint. That's the first. I ain't never had nobody eating on the joint. He is truly bruh man from the 5th floor. Like he set his book bag over here. You know what I mean? He brought
Here
his
at
plate
Mo's
on.
Seafood. What you eating over here? I'm interested in knowing. Let us know.
It's crab dip. Just crab dip.
I got some crab dip from Mo's Seafood. Come down and get yours. Well, shout out to our sponsors, Union Media Group, Tone Drone TV, Mo's Seafood, of course, and Play It Again Sports Timonium. We will be back in 2 weeks. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate everybody who likes and comments and subscribes and everything and shows us love on social media. Come down to Mo's Seafood, see us here. We appreciate you all.
Oh, we ain't shout out Brainstream Media. Boy,
Brainstream Media. Can't forget that. Say the best
Better
friend.
not. And shout out
Shout out to you.
And shout out to KG for MCAT.
Shout out to my
KG
baby.
and MCAT. Shout
Shout out to my baby girl, my niece and my nephew out there in the audience. They came to see their auntie. I love y'all so much.